I just want to, so that this whole idea of this is for youngsters. So if I'm a youngster who's about 30 years old, I'm embarking on my life, I'm still asking the question, who am I and why am I here? What am I supposed to do with my life? If you are to, and I want to do something, and I probably will not probably take a job, I'm going to start something, typically an entrepreneurial kind of person. What would you ask him to look? What would you say? There's always going to be stuff like principles and stuff like that, but any thought that just comes through right now for you?
Follow your passion.
That's a big one.
It's the only guarantee to success. If you're going to say, no, I will do something else that will make me the money so that I'll retire at 40, so I can follow my passion at 40.
That's a bad one.
You may not live till 40. You may not reach your goal till 40. That goal will keep moving as the index moves. So if you instead say, hey, this is my passion, whatever it is, math or science or chemistry or physics or finding a DNA, unraveling a mystery or whatever that gets you, follow your passion. Because the minute you do that, then you're not looking at yourself as being a vehicle for everything else. You're saying, this is my world. This is what I love to do. I'm willing to sacrifice whatever that takes me in becoming a swimming star or cricket, whatever, or reaching Mars or going to the moon or playing the most perfect composition or creating the most perfect line in dance or whatever. Follow your passion. When we're born with, in many ways, our advisors, our conscience.
Intuition and conscience.
Intuition. If you're able to listen to them, if you're able to fix your antenna and therefore listen to your instinct, and you will automatically know when you're going wrong or when you're going right.
Absolutely.
Is there a point that you can say, oh, how do I know? Of course you don't know. I mean, sitting here, I don't know today what will happen tomorrow. I don't know what will happen later in the evening. It is the moment that you have to be very conscious of. Every moment is a moment that you will never, ever visit again consciously. If that lived moment is so precious for you or anybody around you, then you must make the most of that moment.
Correct.
Each of those moments will add up to a sum of time. The sum of time will be dictated by the experience that you have received or understood or lived through. That experience in many ways will tell you, am I going the right way or not? In all of this, it's everything. I'm using the word moral compass because it's an easy word to use, but it's not perhaps the appropriate word to use, because your morality will be different from my morality, which will be different from your morality. So I don't mean it
that way.
Morally in the way that we look at
value compass,
maybe value compass. But what I do mean is that you have to look at it from the prism of your own philosophy.
Correct.
Why are we here on this earth? We are each of us on our own individual spiritual journey, which we then share in a collective.
Correct.
None of us are, an island sitting out there in the middle of an ocean. I mean, we may be, but we're not. That spiritual journey that we are on, and we are all spiritual beings, you may not consider yourself to be a spiritual being, but we are. If you're a spiritual being, then you must be clear that everything that you do has to be part of that journey. You can't say that I am going to invite Netanyahu to jointly address Congress and sign on a bomb on Israel and then say, oh, but I'm going to church on Sunday and I'm going to be forgiven for my sins. Or that you're going to take a dubki in the Ganga and be washed of your sins of avarice, of greed, of irresponsibility, of hatred, of division. You can't. There is only one path at the end of the day, and each of us tread that path at a different level. Not everybody is treating the path as a Buddha. That may be where you want to lead, but you're not. You're treading your path, but in the treading of your path, do it in the way that you feel is right to you. And what is right to me is not necessarily right for you or for you or for her. It's not. It has to be right for you. And therefore, there's nobody necessarily who's going to tell you, you're on the beta, सही कर रहे हो बेटा पोर्स चला रहे हो बहुत बढ़िया कर रहे हो और blood वो कर रहे हो you can't. You have to decide what you want to do. Having said that, I fight with my voice all the time. All the time. I'm always fighting with my instinct. Okay, screw that. Let me see. देखूं तो. But when it comes to major decisions, especially when it comes to money decisions and instinct decisions, I have walked out after $1 million check has been signed on the table saying this is what we want you to do. Everything is signed. I'm just about to sign and I'm like,
My intuition
this
says
doesn't work. To the shock of, everybody on the table.
you-
I followed it, and for whatever reason, it has panned out. Thank God I followed it. I mean, you don't immediately know. The immediate response, the pagal hai kya? My colleagues have been called and said, what happened? What is the matter with him? Go tell him. And instinctively, it's yeah, of course. But as things play out, because you don't know everything all the time. No?
I love that piece of advice to follow. So just follow your passion, listen to your conscience deeply, be led by that and by your intuition.
And fight your ego.
Instinct के बदले में intuition बोल रहा हूँ.
And fight your ego.
And don't let your ego win all the time.
What is interesting is that in India and much of the world, but we're looking at India specifically, all 1.4 billion of us have stamped in our DNA the arts. So from the minute we're born to the minute we die, so cradle to grave, we're dancing our way. Okay, we tell a story, however poor and uneducated, educated, wealthy, rich, blah, blah, blah you are. Today, Taylor Swift is performing for the big wedding somewhere in the Mediterranean, for example. So we have it in our system. So then to say be in denial of what is stamped in your DNA is bizarre. So now you look at, because it's so commonly available, demand and supply, therefore, because everybody can sing, dance, tell a story, make a movie, whatever, you don't give it value. Now you look at the fact that today the film industry is a value proposition, or literature festivals today are in vogue and have become a value proposition because the Jaipur Literature Festival has been so successful or whatever. So what you're then saying is that you can look at this as a profession, because like 100 of my colleagues in this organization, they all get reasonable salaries, they all go back fulfilled, there's a growth possibility, and they do things, everything, every day that excite them. And like us, there are tens of thousands of people today in this larger world. It's taken 15 years of trying to drive policy to get government to deem this sector as the creative sector. It's finally happened just before the elections.
Oh.
Where they deemed the sector, and of course they've said, but you have to think of it like this. All of that. But
still,
they've deemed the sector as the creative sector. 15 years of me screaming and shouting and tossing my hair around. The advantage, of course, that I have had is that because I've had long hair, most people think that I'm mad, and because of mad or eccentric. So even if I say something that's displeasing to them, which is most of the time, they're okay with it. Ye to pagal hai. That's the instinct that people in power tend to have when people like me walk into the room.
It's your reputation.
That you say what you have to do. But my thing is, I have to say what I have to say. It's up to them what they want to do with it. Not that I'm going to do ha. Don't call me to do ha, and that's true for any country that I speak to. That's it.
Thank you, Sanjoy. It was a lovely time. I love the spiritual path, spiritual journey that we're all on.